Hi everybody, welcome to another YDFLive show. My name is Stephen Aitchison, creator of YourDigitalFormula.com, a program to help you become the influencer that you are. And I'm going to show you a video from Gary Vaynerchuk. You know I love Gary Vaynerchuk. I think he's definitely one person to follow with doing social media and kind of building up your business, and just what he's done is absolutely amazing. Just some things I'm up to just now. We're still working on YDF Local Business, and that's still ongoing just now. So for everybody waiting on that, it is coming. It's just really slow just now. We're working on kind of other things as well to get going. We've got YDF Arizona, and we're just getting organised for that. I'm going to send out a big message to the group as well about YDF Arizona. So really looking forward to that. What else have we got going on? Yeah, we're doing a kind of 4-part funnel training. It's not funnel training, it's actually training from a different kind of perspective for the Your Digital Formula. I kind of spoke about this last week a wee bit. And it's about how you're becoming the influencer. And really that's what kind of Your Digital Formula is all about. So we're kind of changing tack a wee bit with what Your Digital Formula is about. And we're currently writing, and I'm going to hire a ghostwriter to write an ebook as well, or I'm writing part of it. I'm hiring a ghostwriter to work with me for that, so I'm going to write part of it and work with them to do kind of an ebook to get more sign-ups, because I need to work on the email list, and that's what we're doing just now. I've been speaking to Maria about this, and we're going to focus on building up the email list, or the business side of the email list. We've got loads on the personal development side, but we need a lot more on the business side. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to share a video from Gary Vaynerchuk. This is from a talk he did in New York. And as I said, I totally love Gary Vaynerchuk. I think he's definitely one person to follow. Other people you should follow: Russell Brunson, you should definitely follow him. Dean Graziosi, you should definitely follow him as well. Brendan Bouchard, Tony Robbins, obviously. But for the marketing side of it, Amy Porterfield as well, you should definitely follow. Marie Forleo as well, you should definitely follow. These are kind of the bigger, much bigger kind of people that are doing millions of dollars per year in revenue, and just giving you some suggestions on who to follow if you think, well, that's kind of who I follow, and hopefully you find that useful. Okay, we're going to go to the video. As I said, it's from Gary Vaynerchuk. So this is video day today. It's from Gary Vaynerchuk in New York. And I hope you enjoy this one.
Thank you. So growing up in the liquor business, I've always learned that it's super hard to compete with alcohol. So everybody back there, do your thing. You're not hurting feelings. So thank you so much for having me. I figured, to be very honest, especially as I've been walking around the room and seeing so many familiar faces, I don't think this group necessarily needs me to sit up here and pontificate. Now it's a little dark, and I was hoping to convert this a little bit into Q&A, so maybe at some point we'll turn on the lights, or I'll roll with it. But I guess the thing that I want to really talk about is the thing that I've realized that I've been spending the last 20 years of my life on, which is attention. I think if I synthesize what I've been up to, what gives me the honor of sitting up here in front of all of you, it's that at a very young age, and I mean going back to lemonade stands, when I was 7 years old, I had a 3 lemonade stand franchise, and my friends worked the lemonade stand, and I would literally, this is real, and now thinking back to it, it's so crazy. I would literally think it was fun at 7 years old to walk up and down the streets of Aitchison, New Jersey, sit on the grass and the corners of streets, and try to figure out which poles, which trees were the most interesting to put signs on based on watching human beings drive and try to follow their eyes and figure out the spots. And as sick and fucked up as that sounds to me, it's interesting that was literally the blueprint for the rest of my life. When I did baseball card shows and I was making $3,000, $4,000 a weekend when I was 12, I now remember, oh, it's weird, I would actually spend the first 4 hours of a baseball card show walking the entire show, watching the market, coming back, and then setting up my table based on how mine was different than everybody else. And that ultimately manifested, where are we? that ultimately manifested somewhere way out there in Short Hills, Springfield, New Jersey, where my dad had a liquor store, and I got dragged in when I was 14, and I basically spent all my days, 15 hours a day, Saturday and Sunday, and every weekend of my teenage and high school years, watching how people walked through that liquor store. Ultimately, the internet came around, and in 1996, I launched one of the first e-commerce wine businesses in America called WineLibrary.com, and I went on to build that business from a $3 to a $60 million business on the same thesis, which is where is overpriced attention and where is underpriced attention? When I look around this room, startups, consultants, VCs, business leaders, I'm curious, because this is a smart room, I'm curious if even all of us are actually stunningly and grossly underestimating what's about to happen, right? So for example, shooting the shit here a little bit, retail. Retail's about to get way worse. It's been interesting the meetings I'm in, if people think what's gonna happen in retail, and this is a prediction, this is a flat out guess, but this has been running through my mind the last 100 days, which is, there's a lot of retailers that are going out of business, and all of us look at them and go, yeah, that makes sense, yeah, that makes sense. If we, God forbid, have a retailer that seemingly is healthy go out of business in the next 6 months, it really just collapses that whole infrastructure. And every day, everybody knows here what's happening with their behavior, right? And so we see this happen in different sectors, but then I was like, okay, retail's in a really scary place, because if you care about big data and analytics, we're starting to get to that threshold where there's enough direct-to-consumer business happening online that basically the infrastructure of leases and really gets scary and will clearly play out. It's not going backwards. Every trend that we're living through, it's not coming back. I'm in a ton of fucking meetings with trillion-dollar companies whose new game plan is tried and true, which is always the tale to it's fucking over, right? Because they're hoping. And so retail, cool. Next, a place where I'm far more confident of what I'm talking about, which is media. We have traditional media companies, whether they're print, Hearst, Condé, or Viacom, and Fox, the gig is up. We've got another 24 to 36 months, but when you talk about $80 billion in TV advertising, that's gonna play out. It's over. OTT is real. Facebook comes out with its OTT product in a month. In the same way that you didn't think you'd watch on Netflix until there was House of Cards, you don't think you're gonna watch a sitcom or show on Facebook until something comes out that you are gonna watch. And so, today with Alexa, when you look at the gangster level in which Facebook and Amazon are innovating, not giving a fuck about Wall Street and short-term ROI and investing for the long term, it's just very clear to everybody smart in here. What I'm curious about, though, is are we just underestimating the whole thing? Is the internet now hitting real maturity 22, 23 years into consumer internet? 1995, Windows 95, normal people went on. I know there's some nerds in here, but normal people went on around that time, And so are we just hitting that crescendo moment? Because you've got incredible trends. When I think about CPG brands and the absolute fascination I have over the next decade of watching the biggest brands in the world, Procter, Unilever, J&J, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, go through channel conflict wars with Walmart and Costco and Target, DTC is putting so much pressure. The internet is the middleman, and bookstores and black car services just got caught first. And so everything's coming. I have sat in my office on the 25th floor of this beautiful building in the last 100 days and have sat down with founders who've started direct-to-consumer fashion brands that have gone from 0 to between $3 and $10 million in revenue in 1 year on the back of having pretty people on Instagram post about it. When you start understanding, and this is my macro for all of us, I think everybody here needs to start understanding that every incumbent is not gonna lose to another incumbent, they're losing by the death of 1,000 cuts, right? It's not that Ralph Lauren, which is going through what it's going through, it's not that LVMH or Coach is putting them out of business, it's that there's 4,000 brands that are gonna do $4 million in revenue next year, and that shit adds up. And that's just happening everywhere, and we're living through the long tail. It's even happening in the most innovative places. There's a lot of people here that have not quantified how underpriced influencer marketing is yet. Yet, even in that world, disruption has come because the long tail influencers of 25 to 50,000 followers are starting to disrupt the people that are overpriced with 1 million followers. I mean, it's happening so fast. I'm watching very smart people jump into things 3 years after it actually happened with 4 years ago talk, and that creates enormous disruption. And so I guess the one thing I would say, again, seeing a lot of faces that I know here, so we've got real top to bottom CEOs of billion-dollar companies, people that are starting startups, I think we really need to calibrate several things, which is there's an obnoxious amount of opportunity because people are undervaluing where the attention is. The attention is in the cell phone. Our cell phone is the remote control of our lives, period, end of story. There's nothing remotely close to as important as the cell phone. And when you start understanding that over 50% of the time spent on the cell phone is spent on 7 to 10 core apps, which are social networks, and throw in YouTube in there, whatever you want to call it, you're talking about more than half of the time we spend on cell phones on things called Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, and YouTube. And all of a sudden, social media goes away from being a slang term that people think is an afterthought or a sprinkle, and it starts becoming the foundation of communication in our society. And so I implore, and one of the things that I'm very fascinated by, so for example, I think Facebook videos are the great underpriced opportunity to change your business. So if I'm a SaaS B2B business in this room doing $500 million in revenue, instead of getting booths at trade shows and buying ads in B2B magazines, I know that I could run a video on Facebook that's 2 minutes and 18 seconds long, and I can target employees of any company I want. And the copy and the opening line of the video can be, does your CIO know? And I know that that CIO will then get 700 people or 17 people, or she will get 14 people sending that video, and that becomes a gateway to business development. People are just not practitioners. This room is filled with people who have a whole lot of things to say about stuff, but have never actually done it. There's a lot of opinions here on buying Snapchat filters in the open marketplace. There's a lot of opinions here. You like that? It's just true. And I say it because I do it in every other thing that I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about in, right? I've got opinions on everything. But what's been fascinating is that people got opinions on what's actually happening, but they're not practitioners. We have a massive disconnect between headline reading and practitionership in the modern day of running businesses and marketing. And that is an enormous arbitrage of opportunity, and it's also the preview to a whole lot of carnage. And so, I don't know, I think, listen, I as somebody who's most comfortable in chaos think this is gonna be the best. Like, I desperately want Wall Street to melt. I'm so tired of all these peacetime generals, these CEOs that have been navigating the last 7 years of good times. I think we need a massive correction. I would prefer it. And in that correction, there will be enormous opportunity because the biggest brands in the world's overhead and infrastructure is based on a world that doesn't exist anymore. And you know what's funny? The 13 to 15 faces that I'm able to actually see with the lighting, you all know. I can see it. You all know, I'm not so smart, I'm just saying it. And I'm saying it not because I'm noble, but because my economics aren't tied up in it. And so one thing I would tell this extremely smart group is the most fascinating thing about the last 20 years of my career is that people say shit they don't believe because of short-term economics, which eliminate all their long-term economic opportunities. And so this group needs to debate that, because this room is filled with that. And in that is outrageous opportunity. So if you work somewhere and you believe something else, I highly recommend you put it on the record, because everybody in that room will remember when shit hits the fan, and the people that are historically right win. And that is going to be very important for your actual livelihood. Right now, you may be pandering to what's good for your livelihood, for your bonus right now. But when shit hits the fan, you get negated, and it's a detriment for being historically incorrect. So I would implore everybody to look at the macro math, to understand what's really going on. We live in a world where Kylie Jenner got paid $1.3 million last week to post one picture on Instagram and Snapchat. And guess what? It was a good fucking deal. It was. And so I think people are holding on to a reality that doesn't exist anymore. So I'm pumped. And I hope you are too, because if you are, that means that you haven't bogged, people love to make, I was with a client, CMO, and she was razzing on retail, and I was like, but you're doing the same thing with your corporate career in here. Your infrastructure, your golden handcuffs are their leases. So, I don't know, I think it's an interesting time, and I really appreciate your attention. I'd love to do a little Q&A if anybody's interested, so thanks for having me. Anybody have any questions about anything randomly? Yo.
You said on the...
Thanks, Karen. You said on the cell phones, which is really interesting, 50% plus people are spending all of their time on the cell phones, 7 to 10 apps.
Yes.
I don't want to say that those apps are kind of time wasting, that might not be the word, but what happens, what are the next 7 to 10 big apps, and what are people going to be doing?
I have no fucking idea. I get a lot of credit because I was early investor in Facebook and Twitter and Snapchat and these things, but they already made it. Like, the only thing I do is, I'm a practitioner. I think it's a good idea to wake up in the morning and look at the top 200 apps in the App Store or at Appboy and look at data and download the app and play with it. Like, I'm not guessing. These things have already made it. I'm just moving a little bit faster than the rest of the market, right? Now, I don't think they're time wasters because I think escapism is a core need for human beings, right? So whether it's reading a book or watching TV, I watch grown men run into each other, because I love football, but that's my escapism from right? So I don't judge people doing that thing. You know what's funny? I don't care, right? I think way too many people here debate and have a romantic point of view of how they want the world to be. I just react to the way the world is actually acting. Like, who am I to judge? I was told as a kid playing video games was a waste of time. I'm watching kids making $15 million a year play esports. Shit changes, right? And so I think that, I'm not sure, but what I will say is this. The only great arbitrage to the internet itself that is even out there is VR. But as I was talking to somebody earlier, I believe that consumer VR is quite far away. Like, to me, I react to reality. Nobody here knows somebody that's spending 3 hours a day on VR. Everybody here is spending 7 hours a day on their phone. Like, when you start adding up your time on we're already, in theory, living in VR. We're living through our phone. Do you know how many people here went hiking this weekend to take the selfie, to PR themselves to the fucking friends? Like, there is consumer behavior that is happening that we are grossly underestimating to why and things of that nature. So I don't know, but what I will tell you is, I day trade attention. My life, until I die, will be, why does slime matter to 8-year-olds, right? Why did spinners happen? Why do people care about logic and Rust? Why are they spending so much time on Instagram? And I don't judge, I just react and sell. Maybe pass right, lovely lady right in front.
All right.
How are you?
Hi.
Hi.
All right. So I know you have this thing with bots now. So what are some of your favorite bots that you're chatting with?
So I have, the funny part is I am obsessed with that space, but I'm more paying attention. It's funny. Like, for example, I don't consume content. Like, I'm not necessarily using a bunch of bots, and I'm looking at what's going on with meat courts and Reddit and some media companies and then retailers. There's a small yogurt startup that's got a real great messenger bot that's doing extremely well. But what's really weird about the way I roll, I don't spend much time doing any of this shit. I spend all my time watching you do it.
Would you chat with my bro bot?
Would I?
Yeah.
Sure.
It's a bot that just says bro back to you with everything you said.
I'm a little bit more into, I'm in. Any other questions? Yeah, let's bring it over here. Here, I'll switch with you. You can give me that one.
Hi, this is Sid. So,
Nice.
I'm actually representing the dying vertical of retail.
Yes.
As you painted it, so I work for Under Armour.
Listen, I have a 50,000 square foot wine store right across the river. I'm in it too.
Yeah, so we'll work it together.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
But so For a brand like Under Armour,
Yes.
we've traditionally had success doubling down on sporting assets and endorsements.
Yes.
And it's worked well for us. We've had the Year of Champions in 2015. So as you think about the long tail and the influencer network you talked about, you would probably imagine brands have unlimited money. They don't, right?
I'm super aware of your business. We've done some stuff. To me, it's interesting, right? In a world where you have Cam Newton and Jordan and Brady and Steph, you also are in a place where you're not fully even supporting people like Julio Jones because you have a long tail, and yet there's people even further down the long tail that you have. I think that it's a sports endorsement and fame arbitrage. Guys, fame is the ultimate arbitrage in our society. So it's a great business model. I think that most of your athletes at this point are locked into contracts that grossly overpay them on their influence because we lock them in a world that is shifted. So it's going to be really interesting to see what you and your 2 or 3 competitors are going to do. Obviously, you've seen your direct competitors in the shoe space go in a different direction and go towards music. It's one thing for Yeezys to happen. It's another thing now to watch what Rihanna's doing with Puma. This is real, right? And then back to what I was talking about earlier, there's a ton of little micro things going on under, collaborations, what Bape is doing, and others. And so, it's interesting. I think Under Armour has a very traditional Nike-like blueprint. I really do from afar. I think that it'll be. I would tell you one of the things that I'm most excited about, as a fan of business, is to actually see what you guys do over the next 2 or 3 years, because I think there's opportunities for you to innovate out of necessity.
Yeah, no, I think that's right. I think it just sort of goes back to the fragmentation in the space you're talking about. Where do you invest, where you don't? Because ultimately, everything is a prioritization, everything's a decision you have to make based on what's most important.
But that's when you overspend on things in an old world. So for me, I'd much rather allocate $300,000 in production and distribution around Julio Jones in an Atlanta area than spend the ridiculous production value to launch a Steph Curry shoe during a commercial during the NBA playoffs. Not that you're right and I'm wrong or vice versa. I just think that's how it's going to play out.
Yeah, local for local.
Yeah. Done? Thank you, guys.
Hi, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that. I don't know if a lot of you would kind of get that, to be honest. I know you'll get it, but if you're not in business and you're not kind of following social media and you're not following kind of businesses and kind of online business and kind of digital marketing kind of stuff, you might not have been kind of interested in that. But what Gary was talking about there is hugely, hugely important. There's a few things that he spoke about there in that kind of talk. And really what I was saying is kind of all businesses or on kind of any business needs to be on social media. You need to be on social media. That's where the attention is. That's where the eyeballs are. That's where everybody's looking at on kind of Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram, on Twitter. Not so much Twitter. I think Twitter's going to come back up, to be honest. I think it's going to come back in some form. They're just going to reorganise what they do and how they operate. So Twitter's still a big kind of player. But the big ones, obviously, Facebook, Snapchat as well. A lot of people are still using Snapchat, although the figures are going down for Snapchat. So I see that being less important. Facebook video he was talking about there. Facebook video is huge. And the reason it's huge because you can advertise Facebook video at a very, very small cost compared with advertising on TV, radio, newspapers and stuff like that. So the old media or the old advertising kind of way is kind of going out the window just now. But you have to be on social media. Can I just get a show of hands just now? Have you got a business just now? Have you got an online business at the moment? Just give me a yes if you've got an online business just now. We'll just do a wee bit kind of interaction just now, just before we finish. Because I'm just trying to get a gauge of the audience and who's got an online business, who's thinking about an online business, or who's got an idea for an online business, or even an offline business, but you're still thinking about going online. So give me an idea of who's watching this and you've got an online business, or you're thinking about it, or you've got an idea for it. So we've got Laurie Emmett, yes. Maria Flynn, yes. Darlene Dawn, Kathy Baker, Joe Avil, nope. Dave Moore's just joined us, welcome Dave. Clyde Lee Dennis, yes. Linda Grace, yes. Anne Solomon, Anne Piatek Solomon is saying no. So it's just to get an idea if you've got a business and if you've got an online business just now. So I'm just trying to gauge how many of our viewers have actually got an online business. So if you just answer yes or no, we've got most people are saying yes. Just now, Susan Jackman is saying yes. So we've got a lot of the YDF tribe members. They've got an online business, which is excellent. Okay, if you've answered yes to say you've got a business, are you using more than one social media platform? Darlene McDaniel is saying yes as well. Axel Heng is saying yes. Are you using more than one social media platform? Are you just using Facebook? Are you just using YouTube? Are you just using one, or are you just focusing on one main platform? Olga Maria is saying no, but thinking about starting one. Excellent. Julia Kinandu is saying no. Simile is saying no. Susan Jackman is saying yes to more than one social media platform. Brilliant. Laurie Emmett, no. Suboda is saying no as well. Kyan Howland, Facebook and YouTube, excellent. Kylie Dennis is saying yes. Brilliant. So what I'm going to suggest is, over at Your Digital Formula in the YDF tribe and the kind of Bravehearts that are in there just now, we kind of predominantly focus on Facebook. But I've been saying for, I don't know how long, I've been saying for, don't just use Facebook. Facebook is a big tool because Facebook is going to be here for the next 5-10 years. So you need to utilize Facebook to grow your page, to grow groups and to advertise on. Facebook is by far the best platform to advertise on. Now, you might not have the advertising dollars to spend for kind of Facebook, but if you think about it, imagine if I was to say to you, okay, spend $100 on ads for Facebook, and you can almost guarantee, if you kind of tweak it and you get it right and you do it properly, that you could get $120 back. It's a 20% return on investment, so 20% ROI. If you could do that, would you do that? If you could spend $100 and get $120 back from Facebook, of course you would. Of course you would, and you'd spend it multiple times. You'd spend $1,000 if you're getting $1,200 back. You'd spend $1 million if you're getting $1.2 million back. Of course you would. So you need to think about this as the next level of your business. You need to start spending money on advertising, but you can spend a very low amount on advertising just to tweak it, to test it, to make sure you're going to get that return on investment. So that's another thing to think about, is advertising. If you're not advertising, you're not serious about your business. That's what I'm going to say. I know that kind of sounds bad to say that. Even if you're just starting out, even if it's just to kind of grow your email list as well. If you're just advertising to grow your email list and then you start selling products after that, you need to start advertising, whether it be on YouTube, whether it be on Instagram, whether it be on Facebook, and you need to figure out a way how to do that and make it profitable for you as well. And hopefully the way you're going to be doing that is something like a funnel. We spoke about funnels loads of times. You offer a free ebook, somebody signs up, you give them a kind of self-liquidating offer, which is, say, an offer for $37 for one of your products. Then once they buy that, you've got a buyer, and then as soon as they do that, upsell them to a $197 product if you've got it. If not, you still get the buyers anyway for the smaller kind of products that you've got, but you're building up your email list, you're building up your buyer email list as well, because your buyer email list is going to be the most important for you. If they bought from you once, more than likely they're going to buy from you again if they know, like, and trust you. So these are the things to think about going to the next level. And being really honest, I'm still at that next level. I've kind of grown the platform. I've done that. I've recognised that I'm an influencer. I've recognised that. I've started building the platform. It's still growing just now. And I have to go to the next level just now. And that means spending money on ads. But I have to make it work for me. So I'm still testing, tweaking. And we're going to be growing the email list as well with that. And we want a big, huge email list. And I'll tell you another reason you want an email list. And this is something that's come to light over the last couple of months. So I've been doing interviews on Facebook with the YDFLive show. And what's happening is I've been kind of interviewing these kind of big people, Dean Graziosi, Russell Brunson, and people like that, just kind of big names. And what they're asking for is an email list. So they say, okay, if you send this out to your email list, you could win like a competition. Like, for example, Russell Brunson's got his book, kind of Expert Secrets, out just now, and he's kind of got a competition whereby the top affiliate who sells the most books will actually win kind of this, I think it's a Mustang or something, they're going to win like that. But I just recognise the importance of collaboration and kind of getting a big email list. So I want to go to Russell in the future and say, listen, do you want to promote your digital formula, and we'll do this for you. I'll promote ClickFunnels, or I'll promote your next book that comes out, or I'll promote your next webinar that comes out. But I can't do that if I've got a small business email list. Now, I've got a large personal development email list, but they're not necessarily into business. So we're thinking, or we're putting into place just now, the kind of business email list building, so we can collaborate with other people and we can do JV partnerships. So you need to think about that as well. Not necessarily business. If you're into personal development, build up your personal development email list so you can collaborate and do JV kind of partnerships with other people, i.e. you send out an email for them, they send out an email for you, or you can get them to pay you, or you can pay somebody else to kind of start promoting your products as well. So it's just thinking about the next level now, and that's where we are kind of in the YDF tribe just now over at Your Digital Formula, the program, is we need to start thinking about the next level of our business. And what Gary Vaynerchuk was saying there as well is big business. There's kind of people on YouTube just now earning at least $10 million purely because they're on YouTube and they've gathered a lot of followers. I can't think of the guy's name just now. He's a gamer and he's actually really funny. If you can think of his name, I can't think of his name, but he's a gamer. He's earning at least $10 million. In fact, I'm just going to kind of check it just now because that's going to bug me. Oh, PewDiePie, that's what it is. I didn't have to put it in. So PewDiePie, a guy called PewDiePie on YouTube, really funny, but he does kind of these gaming stuff. That's how he started, and he's kind of branched out a wee bit from there, and he's got millions and millions of followers, and he's not kind of part of a kind of corporation or anything like that, but he's earning millions of dollars per year. And I think that's the way kind of society is going. A lot of people, a lot of the kind of millennials are going to be coming up and they want to start their own business online. So we're already kind of competing with them as well. So you need to be one step ahead of the game and start building up your email list, start building that social media platform as well. Start getting out there and kind of talking more about what you're doing as well on Facebook Live, for example, because that's going to be a big thing, and it is a big thing just now. So I just thought that talk from Gary was brilliant, to be honest. Very subtle. If you didn't pick up on it, it's very subtle talk, but very, very important. I'm just going to look at some of the comments, see if we've got any comments here. Shelley Sweeney, I've been locked out of my Facebook mentions after travelling in Malaysia and can't get my password set up. Shame, as I want to do a live from Singapore, so must have some real travelling tour sort of thing, but not allowed. Sorry, different topic. Yeah, what happens, Shelley, if it doesn't recognise a browser that you're on, and it doesn't recognise that, it depends on where you're kind of doing it from. Obviously, you've been travelling. What you can do is you can go into your app on Facebook. If Facebook mentions, it just depends how they can ask you, but you can get a code generator from your Facebook app and put that into Facebook mentions. You should be able to do it, but Facebook mentions is a wee bit different. And for anybody that doesn't know, the Facebook mentions was originally for people that have the blue tick after their name. If they've got a Facebook business page and they've got a blue tick, you can get Facebook mentions. So you should be able to log in with a code generator. I don't know if you've seen that, Shelley, but hopefully you'll get back in as well. Right, the comments are sticking a wee bit. I'm just going to go to another part, one wee second. So if you've got any comments or questions, just if you just ask quickly just now, and I'll see if we can get to them. Darlene McDaniel is just using Facebook because I found it the strongest and no response from others. Right, if you think about, Darlene, what you did with Facebook when you first started, you probably didn't get any response from Facebook. Unless you started maybe 3-4 years ago when it was kind of really easy to grow your page. Really easy to grow your page. All you had to do was kind of post a few things and people would start following you. It's a lot different now. Obviously, you have to work at it. You have to think strategically about it as well. It's the same with YouTube, same with Instagram, same with Snapchat, Same with Twitter as well. You have to now start thinking about it strategically, but I would still put your kind of content on those platforms. So the content you've got on Facebook, you can use it on the other platforms as well, and that's how you build it up. You don't pay attention as much to the other social media platforms as much as you would for Facebook, but what you can do is get something like meetedgar.com, and you can automatically post to kind of your Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn and stuff like that as well. LinkedIn is coming up more and more now as well. I've seen a lot of great content on LinkedIn, and it's more kind of business oriented, and I see that coming up more where it's kind of been ignored a wee bit in the past for content. I'm talking about it's good for connections, or it's always been good for connections for kind of business, but for content more and more I see great content coming up from LinkedIn as well. So I think they're going to be doing a lot of things as well, so you can build up your presence on LinkedIn as well, which is always a good thing. Shelley Sweeney, so we'll keep trying. Thank you. Good. Yeah, I think you should keep trying, Shelley. But you don't need to use Facebook mentions. You can go on your normal Facebook app and do a live from that as well. You don't need to have Facebook mentions. Susan Jackman, I have to check out Meet Edgar. Yeah, there's a few apps like that. Hootsuite, Meet Edgar, and there's a couple of other ones as well. I can't remember the name of it. Buzz. No, it's not that. There's a few apps that you can schedule. Later.com as well. Ken Howland, what was the name of the way to post stuff? It was just before your comment on LinkedIn. What was the name of the way to post stuff? Ah, right, it's an app. And it's an app for your computer called meetedgar.com. Oh, you've got it now. That's fine. So that's from Kyan. And Darlene Daunton, I don't know that I just quit LinkedIn. I dissolved my profile a few months ago. You don't have to use LinkedIn, but I still think it's a good platform to be on. You don't have to use any of the other social media platforms as well, but I would suggest that you go on all the platforms, the major ones. And LinkedIn is up and coming for content. Obviously, they've had millions of kind of users before, but for content, it's up and coming more and more for content. I'm seeing more and more stuff come from kind of LinkedIn, but it's really good stuff. Post Planner, that was the other thing I was thinking of. Thanks for that, Clyde. That's Clyde Lee Dennis. Post Planner was the other one as well. So there's a few apps that you can use to schedule automatically your kind of Facebook post, your kind of Twitter, your Instagram, all the kind of major platforms. I never ever liked the apps before because it was the case whereby if you were posting from an app to kind of Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and stuff like that, your reach wasn't as high. And I still think that's the case, but it doesn't matter so much nowadays. So I would start using one of these apps as well. I'm looking into kind of Meet Edgar again. I had Meet Edgar before, but I hired somebody to kind of manage. I've hired a couple of people to manage the actual Facebook pages. But I'm looking at Meet Edgar again just now because the reach on these apps is not as bad as it used to be. So I'm going to test it out and just see how it works, and then I'll report back to you if anybody's interested in that. What if you have two platforms? Can you do one LinkedIn? I don't quite understand that, Karen. Could you just kind of clarify what you mean by that? What if you have two platforms? Can you do one LinkedIn? No, sorry, just clarify what you mean by that, Karen. I'll get back to you. Tracy Artridge thinks about a career change. What are the best resources to start educating and qualifying in coaching and building a digital presence? I would get someday a certification either online. John Kim has got a brilliant platform for coaches called shift.us, shft.us. John Kim has got a brilliant platform for kind of life coaching as well, so I would definitely use that. Just join one of his groups and maybe join the certification programs as well. You can do it offline as well. I just think online is where it's at. If you want to learn kind of the likes of life coaching, learn from somebody that's actually doing it, learn from somebody that's making money from it, learn from somebody that's using social media and using the online digital space to do their kind of stuff online. And John Kim's a great guy for doing that, so I would recommend John Kim for kind of life coaching. He's got a brilliant program, shft.com, shift.us. Sorry, shft.us it is. I'll just post a link, shft.us. Yeah, that was the right one. So I've just posted that just now for you. Karen Howland is getting back. Will it hurt to have 2 platforms on one LinkedIn profile, or do I need 2 LinkedIn? Right, I don't understand what you mean, Karen. Sorry, will it hurt to have 2 platforms on one LinkedIn profile, or do I need 2 LinkedIn? Right, LinkedIn is a platform in and of itself. So you only need 1 profile for that. So sorry, I'm not getting for you. Maybe it's just me having a Monday day. Tracy Artridge, great, thank you. So I'm going to leave it there just now. I think I've been on 45 minutes already. So I'm going to leave it there for just now. So hopefully that's given you something to think about, and thinking about taking your business to the next level. Even if you're just starting out, you still need to think about the next level stuff. You still need to kind of point to where you want to go and keep on heading in that direction, even if you're just starting out. So I'm going to leave it there just now. Have a brilliant day, and I'll see you tomorrow. And namaste. Take care. Bye now.